Yeah, you're not wrong, actually. The lucky nation's currently losing to Burgundy. It does look like they've thrown back the invasion of Chartres and Paris, but Rheims, Troyes and Namur are still occupied. We do have the French army currently going after Picardy. Over there we have the Burgundian forces going after Lyonnais. Actually, let's go and switch over to France and see exactly how this is going. Burgundy is now down to low war enthusiasm. France is building up a little bit of war exhaustion, but nothing like what these guys are doing. I wonder what France's victory here is going to be. Are they going to be trying to split out a bunch of the Dutch miners to just weaken Burgundy overall? Or is France actually going to be trying to take territory? Because they can either break the personal unions and vassals relationships with Burgundy, or they can try and take territory. And the fact that England is currently going after the Low Countries would certainly give me concern. England, of course, being... I still can't believe this. Why on earth did they let him do it? Or let them do it? Pirate Republic. Absolutely mental. Pirate Republic England is going to be hilarious. Meanwhile, we have the invasion going on of Norway, with Muscovy taking over bits of that, and then Sweden going down into Sjælland, currently sieging down Copenhagen, which is the Danish capital. I wonder if Sweden's come up with an agreement where Muscovy gets like northern Norway or something, possibly putting Muscovy in a position to colonize. I don't see them really doing that, but Muscovy may well be concerned with Oirat, knowing that going after Siberia could well be a lot more difficult than he's possibly would expect as Russia. Mandate CB to show superiority is the best CB you could use. Also half cost for Chinese lands. Oh, interesting. So yeah, Oirat, I think, just looking to expand against Ming. I don't think he'll take the mandate. Is there a special victory point for becoming the English pirate? Unfortunately not. Oh, we've got Oirat currently fighting against Ming right now. Ming getting absolutely trounced. This is farmland, which does mean that Oirat was getting their step bonus. Although this is primarily an infantry army. Their cavalry forces are up here. This is going to be the main combat army. This is a sieging army, where he doesn't really care if he takes attrition or not. Meanwhile, Hoshikawa continuing to expand a little bit. Oh no, that's Tokugawa. So I don't think Hoshikawa has actually grown that much more. And needs to be careful, because he is going to be triggering a coalition soon. And Ando has grown quite significantly. Imagawa is also fairly big. The only one that hasn't really grown very much is Ashikaga. I wonder who the shogun is right now. Pretty sure it's Ashikaga. Yes, it is. It can be quite difficult to beat them to that. So, the Jaunpur war against Malwa and Bengal seems to be over. Let's go and take a look at what they took. They took these provinces down here from Malwa. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new provinces for them right there, which is pretty nice. Are they still at war? Jaunpur is not at war, they're in peace now. So the only wars we have is Tunis, who I thought was trying to go south, but it actually looks like the southerners are going north. This was... Oh, this is Morocco. This isn't even Tunis. Tunis currently bleeding for Morocco. So alone without AE, probably regretting a couple of his decisions. He does have the capital of Songhai, Gao, currently under siege. Timbuktu, currently under siege by the Moroccans. Both of those sieges about to be successful. I guess there aren't any forts here. This is just open territory. And in fact, this is their Sahara provinces, which are really not going to be very valuable. This is mostly just an excuse to do attrition damage. It's once they go for this area in particular, that's when damage starts to be done. And they are currently losing the siege of Djerba, which should never have fallen. How have they crossed that? Tunis obviously having got their fleet out a little bit too late there, because they're not going to be able to trap them here. If they take both Tatooine and Djerba, they can just cross at will. Straight crossings don't matter anymore. Hosokawa took Tsushima. Okay. So that is another victory point that has now fallen. So that's going to be 2 of them that have now gone. Meanwhile, Ethiopia... Is Ethiopia a player? No. In that case, I'm not that bothered. Meanwhile, how is the institution spread going on down here? When are they expecting it? 1482, so another 10 years. If Mali can survive 10 years, then they will start spreading feudalism throughout that region. War against Burgundy continues to rage. Oh! They've lost Paris! France has lost Paris. Burgundy has successfully moved in and taken it. Castile in here with full forces. England, I think, being forced to return home because they have a bunch of Hussite heretics currently rising against them. In fact, where are the English armies? England actually being in separate wars. So England's gone after Helra, which is again one of their victory conditions. So England may well trying to go for an early victory point against Helra over here. That is including war against Denmark, so they might be trying to help out their Swedish compatriots. I'm not going to say friends because they're not actually allied. And England currently going for Gotland. Oh wow, if England takes Gotland and Helra, that's 2 victory points right there. And that's going to be concerning a lot of the Europeans because that's 2 of the 3 possible European victory points owned by one country. Helra, of course, being the only one which is continental, so going to be much, much harder to hold than Gotland would be. And Sweden kind of caught napping here by not going after it themselves. How much of Bavaria did Ulm actually take? They took 2 provinces, Ingolstadt and München. Which also means that Ulm is no longer a free city. So they don't have the development cost bonuses that being a free city would have. What's the mandate for Ming? 0. So Norway is still falling to the combined Muscovite forces, although these are just the Muscovite minions. They're not actually Muscovy. Muscovy's armies sitting down here, not drilling, which does surprise me a little bit. What is the state of Muscovy's economy now? Actually having paid off all of their loans. You haven't gone bankrupt or anything, have you? Nope. No bankruptcy, but debt-free. Meanwhile, Poland, actually earning a fair bit of money. They are still 11 loans in debt. So that 1,000 loan debt versus Muscovy's 0 is probably going to be concerning to the Central European powers. I do wonder if Austria is going to be very happy with Muscovy encroaching on Poland and Lithuania. Like, this is your buffer against Russian interests in Europe. If Poland and Lithuania falls, then that's going to cause you problems. But then again, Poland is also a lot closer, so having a strong Poland next door is also not great. Meanwhile, the personal union is still there, so we could still see a united Commonwealth, possibly. Meanwhile, the French now trying to siege down Paris. Still on the losing end of this, although these guys are really hurting under the war exhaustion, so Burgundian rebels are going to become quite likely at this point. It's absolutely hilarious that Burgundy is beating France, Castile, and England simultaneously. Yeah, this is not going to be a good look for them. Like, Austria is almost certainly watching this with great interest going, well, if Burgundy can do it. Interesting. And possibly even Sweden looking on. And maybe even Tunis. It'll be very interesting to see the coordination between these players. I mean, I'm fairly sure that they will be able to pull this war back again, but are they going to get anything out of it? That's the question. France now being tapped for manpower. There are also 6 loans in debt for a higher debt than Poland has. And that's just against AI players. Meanwhile, England being virtually tapped for manpower. They're not yet in debt, but they are currently losing money. And England, of course, being embroiled in other fights. And in fact, the siege for Helra is over. England has been sent packing. The Burgundians are like, no, you're not going after the Dutch. This is my turf. And there is a small English army here, but not actually enough to siege. They need 6,000. This is a proper fort. Don't underestimate Gotland, apparently. Yes. Meanwhile, the English rebels have been seen off, so I suspect that England probably gave in to their demands. Yes, tolerates lollards. Tolerance of heretics goes up, yearly papal influence goes down. So they did indeed give in to the demands. So the Pope's probably going to be going, don't like this. Fortress Gotland, yeah, apparently. Meanwhile, the Ottoman wars of unification over Anatolia are over. Akanulu being a bit of a buffer state between them and the Mamluks, and then of course they're going to have this very uneasy border. Unless of course the two powers have allied to each other, and they have not. Morocco and Ajam are allied, and then Tunis. So they have no allies in common. There is absolutely no ties between these two whatsoever. Meanwhile, the war between Morocco and the southern powers is over. Morocco has expanded southwards. Morocco being in a very strong position. Morocco would be an interesting one to play as, actually, I think. Because they've had a great start. Like, this is a strong Morocco. Mali, meanwhile, still existing. Songhai, still existing. Did they manage to take Gao? They did not, but they did take Timbuktu. So Timbuktu, definitely one of the wealthier provinces in this area, has now fallen. But we have a spread of feudalism. Once feudalism has spread to here, it will start spreading adjacent. Oh no, they have to be friendly. And the AI might actually try to raise relations with Timbuktu. In fact, they are currently friendly with these guys. So, yeah, improved relations would do a lot of good there for Songhai to get feudalism. Meanwhile, I'm a little bit surprised that Congo has not tried to expand more aggressively into these territories. Are any of those their vassals? Nope, that's just legit player here in Congo, playing a very, very quiet game so far. Staying very much under the radar. Inca continue their wars of unification, currently going after Cachapoya. France is at peace. France has peaced out against Burgundy, having white peace? Is that seriously a white peace? I think... No, they took Picardy. One province. One province. Wow. Well played, Burgundy. Now, if I was Brandenburg, if I was Austria, if I was Ulm, I'd be financing Burgundy right now. I'd be trying to build them up again so that they could beat the English-French-Castellan coalition again. Player war. We have a player war. Jaunpur, Bahmanis, and Delhi are all in a Barney against each other. So, what is this over? We have got Jaunpur against Bahmanis and Delhi. Bahmanis and Delhi currently in a coalition. Jaunpur having bitten off. No, it's not coalition. Bahmani reconquest of Thana. Oh, this is just Bahmanis against Gujarat, and Gujarat is allied to Jaunpur. And then Delhi were just not a co-belligerent. And it looks like Jaunpur is not really caring about this, so they are nominally in the war just so they don't get the alliance dishonoured. Delhi currently fighting against Gujarat right now. Bleeding for Bahmanis expansion. Bahmanis going after the Gujarat territories and trying to actually take the land. Meanwhile, Jaunpur having raised a bunch more troops. I don't know if Jaunpur intends to fight this. Jaunpur's army is now moving north towards Delhi. Sindh are just sitting here. Delhi's forces are moving towards Mewat. And the Bahmanis just taking the territory. Like, actually, Bahmanis, having been here last session, are almost certainly in a stronger position than Delhi and Jaunpur right now. I think, had I been just Delhi and Jaunpur, I would have gone, ceasefire, at least for this session, non-aggression. Let's deal with Bahmanis expanding even further. Because Bahmanis have already dismantled Vijay. And Vijay were the other balance of power which would have restricted Bahmanis expansion. Jaunpur bringing in a lot of troops. That's 40,000 men. And they are jumping in. They are helping out their Gujarati allies. So Jaunpur is trying to do what they can to at least stop Delhi's further growth. But I'm not sure that Delhi is really their enemy here. And Delhi's army is sent packing, at least half of them. Delhi does still have a couple of armies over here in Mewat. Are Jaunpur going to go and try and oust them from Mewat? Mewat being Highlands, they will be at a -1 disadvantage here. But yes, we have 27,000 troops moving in right now. Are they going to catch them? Delhi not trying to escape. Delhi being caught by Jaunpur's forces. Jaunpur coming in with 3.8 morale versus their 3.1. They do have military parity, but Delhi's stack wiped. Delhi has been stack wiped. Jaunpur absolutely demolishing their forces right there. Now, is Bahmanis sending troops north? They are sending some troops north. Currently sitting in Bundi in Mewar. Mewar, are they neutral ground? Mewar is neutral ground. And we now have Jaunpur moving in to Delhi to try and seize some territory. So maybe Jaunpur's game plan here is, my way of blocking Bahmanis is by absorbing Delhi. Instead of these two working together, maybe they're just trying to destroy them. That's very interesting. We're definitely going to need to keep watching this one. I am curious to see what Bahmanis do here. Okay, so we do have a large Bahmanis army moving into Mewat. Jaunpur with a very small army here. They could be completely caught napping in Delhi. These guys need to react. Jaunpur has not noticed. And here it is, 3,000 men against the 34,000. That is outnumbering Jaunpur's forces. Jaunpur losing. Jaunpur now finally realizing and actually going to Batinia. Instead of returning to their own territories, they're just going to get cut off over here. This is a terrible decision by Jaunpur. They're going further and further into enemy territory and away from safety. Maybe trying to coax Gujarat into assisting them, because between them, they would have closer forces. No, yep, they are just going to sit here in summer. Bahman is currently going into Sirhind. This is a siege, so Sirhind is going to be a defensive battle. Sirhind being farmland, so no actual benefit from that. 30,000 against 30,000, 3.8 morale against 4.2. Ouch! Somehow, Bahman is actually having even more morale, and it does look like currently this battle is going in Jaunpur's favour, but that was a close fight, and Jaunpur indeed sent packing. But we do now have 14,000 Sin troops on their way in. These guys are now basically at full strength. This is going to be 14 against... Oh no, they're allied. Haha, never mind. Yeah, let's actually do this from Jaunpur's perspective. I think it will be easier. That guy's war with Ming ended. Oirat just creeping ever further south, just taking more and more of the economic heartland. So this was just for a little bit of territory. Ming is still the Emperor of China, so the mandate is still there. Or rather, isn't, seeing as there's a 0 mandate. And Ratanpur, our condottieri hired by Jaunpur, currently working with Sindh to take over the capital. Meanwhile, Jaunpur's forces alongside Gujarat currently going for Sirhind, which was Delhi's former capital. I think that this is a Delhi that formed from Sirhind. I'm guessing it is. It usually is. Meanwhile, Bahmanis with a small army still trying to take over the Gujarat territories, which were actually their objective. Bahmani reconquest of Thana. Where's Thana? There. So they've already taken the one province which they felt was owed them. Do they have... It's a reconquest, so it is a core. And that's the only core. And then they have claims on all of this stuff. No, they're still coring all... Yeah, they're still coring these. That was their gains from Malwa. So this war is currently going in Gujarat's favour, but only just. Sorry, Bahmanis' favour, but only just. But it does look like Jaunpur is fighting pretty hard here, probably hoping that Gujarat gives them a chunk of Delhi. That's dangerous, though. Gujarat's an AI. They may not be willing to do it. Meanwhile, we have a couple of small armies moving into the newly taken Bahmanis territories, putting a stop to the coring that's going down there. Or rather a hold, not a stop. Oh, another battle. We've got 33,000 against 30,000. A couple of extra troops moving in from both sides, but once again, it does look like the morale is on the side of the Jaunpuri troops, even though the overall morale is very much not. I wonder, who is this? Bahmanis was the leader, now Delhi is. So Bahmanis do have the morale bonus. Bahmanis again sent packing. I just want to take a look at Bahmanis' military. Yeah, it is the 4.1 morale for Bahmanis versus Jaunpur's 3.8. And Delhi, oh, that's Mewar. Delhi's 3.4. So Jaunpur does have a slightly superior military to Delhi, but Bahman is definitely coming in with the more superior compared to them. So where is this morale coming from? Morale of armies, they have an advisor. also prestige and a bit of power projection. Bahmanis have negative prestige, so that's actually going to be counting against them. Prestige is a pretty big source of morale. And they don't have morale from that either, so this has got to be an idea thing. Yeah, see, they've already got defensive ideas, which is going to definitely boost them against their opponents.